Hey everybody, we're going to be making some video games with processing. We're going to make some humble games to begin with, some derpy games. Here's the beginnings of mine. We got two players ready to move around and battle in some kind of way. Just a simple mini game. But we're going to learn a bunch of concepts here, and the first one we're going to start with is keyboard input. So I'd like to make these circles move around when I press the keys. Maybe the player on the left here can move when I press the WASD keys. That's pretty standard. Maybe this one can move when I press the arrow keys. So how do I read in that input and have these circles respond? So I'll just show you what I have so far. Here's a set of 6 variables, a pair of X and Y coordinate for each of our players, and a diameter as well. And I've just set this up inside of a small sketch. I don't know if this is going to be my final design. It kind of depends on what game I want to make. But I've programmed these things to be relative to the width and height. So if I change these numbers, like height and width will automatically change because these are built-in variables. So I put player 1 on the left-hand side, and I put player 2 on the right-hand side. And then I just simply draw them as circles. There they are. Circle, circle. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's make these things move when I press the keys. So the first thing I'm going to need is some Boolean variables. The idea is that I need a Boolean variable for each key, and then I have some built-in functions I'll show you that will kind of turn those Boolean variables on and off like a switch. So I'll bring in those variables. There they are. Whoa, look at that. I'm so fast. So these are the WASD keys, and these are the up, down, left, right arrow keys. Okay, so now how do I turn these like true and false or on and off? Well, I'm going to need to use some built-in functions, and I'll show you what these are. We have void key pressed and void key released. Oh gosh. I've got to type better. There we go. You'll see that if I do make a typo, we'll have some problems. Like, if I forget the capital R, for example, see how it doesn't highlight it? That means it won't work. And then you'll be wondering, why don't my keys work? So make sure that that's typed correctly. Okay, so now anyways, these are special built-in functions in processing that will automatically run when you press keys. So if I press a key, this will happen. Whatever code is in here will happen. And I release that key, then this code will happen. So I can use that to manage my variables. The only thing is that's not obvious is how do you know which key was pressed, as opposed to just any key being pressed. So we can use the key and key code variables to do that. I'll show you an example. So if I want to manage, say, my W key, I can write code that looks like this. If key equals W, then I'll set the W key variable to true. See how that works? It's basically this built-in variable called key stores what key was pressed when this function was called. And I can check to see, hey, was it W? Well, then I'll make this true. And then in the released key release function, I can do the same thing as W, but I can set it to false instead. So I can turn on and off these variables. Okay, you're with me? I'm going to go throw in all the other ones, and I'll do that really fast. Whoa, there. So see that I'm using W sets W key, A sets A key, and so on to true in the key pressed. You'll notice that up, down, left, right works a little bit differently. I have to use key code because I can't type an arrow. There's no symbol when I press the arrow keys. So instead we use the key code, and the codes are just in all uppercase letters. If you wanted to press Shift or Control or F3 or whatever, those would all be buttons that would have controls for them. But keys that type symbols, you can use just plain old key. Anyways, I got those all set up in the key press to set their according variables or corresponding variables to true. And then in key release, it's basically the same thing, except I'm setting them to false. Okay, so this actually doesn't make anything move. It just turns these variables into switches that I can read in my draw function. So let's go do that now. I'll show you what that looks like. In my draw function, I'm going to make some if statements to ask, hey, are we pressing the W key? Is that variable true? So I'll just say if W key. What happens if I press W key? Well, player 1 should go up. So I'll put in P1Y equals P1Y minus 5. So So that should change the player one's Y variable by -5. Let's just go confirm that this actually works. I'm going to run this. When you go to press the key, don't forget to click and click on your window to make sure it has focus. And let's press the W key. Oh, look at that. It's moving up. I can't do any of the other keys, but it's pretty simple to go and put the rest of them in. It's going to look exactly like this pattern. I'll go type them in super speed, and then you can see what they look like. And there they are. Wow. So you can see each one is just checking the corresponding key and if that's true, making the right movement. So for example, A key should be left. So we're reducing player one's X variable. S key should be down. So we're increasing player one's Y variable. So these will control P1 and these control P2. All right. All right, folks. So to see what that looks like, you can see now that my WASD keys can move this circle around and the arrow keys move around this circle. And you can maybe use your imagination to start imagining a derpy little mini game. Are these circles battling each other? Are they batting around a ball? I don't know. We'll come up with some ideas as we go. But that's how you do keyboard inputs, and I hope you have success with building that into your projects. All right, thanks everybody.